I just had an interruption, so please forgive me for that. Um, I don't know, my computer went out for a second, but it's okay because we're going to keep moving right on along. It ain't that serious. Uh, Today, what I wanted to talk about was when I say I feel okay, but really I don't. And this is part two of what I covered Sunday. But today I want to talk about a young lady. Um, Her name is KEAIRA HUDSON, and she lived in Buffalo, New York. And she was killed by her husband. And so here we go again with another domestic violence. And I feel like the Buffalo system failed her. Um, I'll say it's the system because when you listen at the video, everybody's shifting the blame. Uh, but nobody's taking responsibility. And at the end of the day, you got a young lady that's deceased and she's got 3 kids left out here for somebody else to raise because their mom is gone. And one of the young ladies, one of her daughters, is by her husband. So now he's incarcerated, which he should be. He's a monster. Um, I don't condone men beating on women. That's not how I roll. I don't like that. Uh, so he gets no pat on the back on this show, not at all. I know they say that he was suffering from mental health issues, but to me, um, I'm gonna show you some videos, and then we'll come back and discuss it. And that's if I'm allowed to show them without them messing up, because I just want to go ahead. Since my system want to act a little crazy today, so let me see. You know how we do. We're gonna watch the video, and then we'll come back and discuss it. Okay, this is the first one. So I want to share this one first, and let's see what happens here. Okay. Okay, let's stop sharing that one. Okay, I don't know if you saw that one or not, but here's another one I wanted to show. That one actually showed him beating her. Her husband was beating her, and the room was all tore up and everything. So I don't know if you could see it real good, but he was actually beating her. And this is a video. I'm assuming that I know she put it viral on Facebook, um, showing everybody that this is what my husband was doing to me. And she went to the police department and she begged for help, and they didn't help her. So she's deceased now, because somebody dropped the ball. Somebody failed this young lady. So this is what I want to share the other video. And then we'll come back and have a conversation. Give me a few seconds. I'm trying to get it to load. I'm trying to wait for it to load. So it's going a little slow for some reason. But hopefully it'll go ahead and load the video. Oh wow, it's not going through it all. Come on.
The man called me outside. Hello, guys.
They say there were numerous warning signs, including a video posted on social media appearing to show KEAIRA being physically abused.
She just bought a little match 2 days ago, posted it on Facebook.
And she took a picture last night and said, if this isn't a cry for help, I don't know what is. Buffalo Police Department. She said if anything ever happens to her, she would not rest in peace.
On September 29th, 30-year-old mother of three, KEAIRA HUDSON, posted a chilling 7-minute video to Facebook of her being brutally beaten by her husband, Adam Benfield. The video, which captured the moments before, during, and after the brutal attack, was captioned, "This is what this man does to me, but I'm always treated like I'm the abuser."
Later that day, she then posted, "Don't underestimate me. I'm a Hudson. We were born strong, but I also know when to play weak, and it saved my life. I was smart enough to get myself out of that situation alive."
Rewinding back to February 22nd of this year, KEAIRA reflected on the day she and Adam married, stating, "This was really the best day of my life. I never felt more beautiful, special, loved. I got a lifetime friend and partner who loves me with every breath. He has given me a beautiful dream wedding. I love you, Adam, forever." Months later, around 8:30 a.m. on October 5th, just 1 week after posting the horrifying video to Facebook, everything would come to a tragic end.
Buffalo police telling us that a woman was shot and killed this morning near Rich Lawn and Shawnee Avenue. Now that's just blocks from ECMC and in front of a school bus stop. This was around 8:30 this morning. I spoke with family members who say it was their loved one, 30-year-old KEAIRA Hudson, who was killed. They tell me the young mother was shot in her car in front of her 3 children. They say she was married and a victim of domestic violence. And they tell me they know who killed her.
After dropping off her children, KEAIRA was expected to attend court later that day to dispute Benefield's request for custody of the kids, but she never ended up making it to her appointment. According to KEAIRA's family, she had been living in fear of her husband due to incidents of physical and verbal abuse before and after their marriage, even informing others that she believed he would eventually kill her. Her husband, 45-year-old Adam Benefield, had a bad temper long before the two were married, but he always apologized whenever he hit her and always promised to change. KEAIRA's family never approved of the marriage. They were scared for her and even tried convincing her to rethink their plans on getting married. But KEAIRA always felt as if she was fine and could handle the situation. Perhaps like many others, she felt that marriage would change things. Sadly, the abuse only became more frequent and even more violent. On September 28th, Adam threatened KEAIRA at their home with a knife, beat her brutally, took her phone, and refused to let her leave their home. As she bled out on the floor, he took pictures of her in her battered state. It was the very next day that KEAIRA would post the graphic video to Facebook. After the incident, she managed to escape from the home the two shared and began staying with her mother. During this time, Benefield would continue stalking and threatening to kill her, leading KEAIRA to finally file a restraining order against him. She even began wearing a bulletproof vest. He was eventually arrested, but released from custody on his own recognizance the very next day, October 4th, just 1 day before he would brutally murder KEAIRA in front of her own children. After his October 4th arrest, he was charged with several misdemeanors, including assault, which are not bail eligible. A stay-away order was also issued by a judge. Police immediately began searching for Benefield as officials explained why he was released from custody the day before the killing and called on New York to change its bail laws to prevent similar tragedies. The assault case against Benefield evolved after the initial call to Benefield's Barbara Place residence on September 28th, where a woman identified as 30-year-old KEAIRA Benefield said she'd been punched by her husband. Because of the condition in which officers found Benefield locked in the bathroom, he was taken to Erie County Medical Center for medical and psychological evaluation. Chickawaga police filed a warrant for Benefield's arrest after he left the medical center. According to a release from the Erie County District Attorney's Office, Benefield reportedly displayed a knife and box cutter during the incident and was accused of preventing KEAIRA from leaving the residence and taking her cell phone to prevent a call for help. The charges against Benefield worsened as the Chickawaga Police Department's domestic violence advocate and detectives uncovered more information later in the week. KEAIRA told the domestic violence advocate that she had suffered injuries and had video of the incident. On the night of October 2nd, KEAIRA called police again when she believed an intruder was in her home. When police arrived and did not find anyone, she showed law enforcement a video showing a more severe instance of domestic violence than what was originally reported to an officer on September 28th. She met with detectives the next day to discuss new evidence, and detectives decided to upgrade the initial charges to misdemeanors. Detectives reached Benefield, who turned himself in Tuesday, October 4th. When Benefield was released after the arraignment, the domestic violence advocate worked with KEAIRA to find safe housing, at which time she decided to stay at her mother's home.
KEAIRA did everything she could to protect herself from her husband, but nothing seemed as if it were enough. She expressed her frustration with police in a Facebook post stating, "I swear the cops aren't worth anything. This is crazy. They need a dead body before they help. I'm calling and begging them to help me. They are useless."
The homicide occurred the very next day. Detectives stated that Benefield did not pull over Buffalo police after the incident, maneuvering through a congested area and entering the Kensington Expressway headed in the wrong direction. Police later found his vehicle and gathered evidence.
She's just been trying to get help. I've been with her, going to police stations. She's been texting me, sending me videos, giving me her phone password just in case.
Montasia Jeter says her sister, KEAIRA Hudson, was in an abusive relationship, even posting a disturbing video on social media that shows her getting beaten up. Jeter says her sister was staying with her mother because she feared for her life.
She's been staying at my mom's house for the last 2 days, and that she was going to go to court today because he was trying to get custody.
But she never made it to court or work. Family members telling me KEAIRA strapped on a bulletproof vest before leaving the house Wednesday morning, got in her SUV with her 3 kids, and was on her way to drop them off at school when she was shot and killed.
He must have been stalking her. My mom asked her, "Why are you putting that vest on?" She said, "Because, Mom, he's going to kill me. You don't understand." And as soon as she went around the corner, he killed her. He smashed into the front of her car in front of a school bus and got out the car with a shotgun and shot her and pulled off.
Her ex-boyfriend and father of one of the kids in the SUV tells me this should have never happened.
I know he was arrested a couple days ago for domestic violence.
Your daughter was in that car.
Yes, she was.
She saw what happened.
Yes, she did. And there was 2 other kids in the car.
Where's your daughter now?
In the house.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. She would call every once in a while and ask questions and say, "What should I do?" And the video was posted on Facebook. Everybody seen it. Everybody was trying to help her, and this is what happened.
The video you sent me was posted on Facebook.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
She said if anything ever happened, she would not rest in peace.
This man was a They should have never let him out.
Hudson's family believes bail reform is to blame. I spoke with New York State Assembly Majority Leader Crystal Stokes, who is a strong supporter of bail reform.
Bail reform is about not incarcerating people prior to a trial. There's people prior to a trial. There's a lot of things they could have done with that gentleman.
But the clerk for the Cheektowaga judge that did let him go tells our I-team Judge James Byers' hands were tied for non-qualifying offenses. The victim's family says they won't stop until justice is served. They say there were numerous warning signs, including a video posted on social media appearing to show KEAIRA being physically abused.
She just bought a bulletproof vest. She just bought a bulletproof vest 2 days ago. Posted it on Facebook.
And she took it last night. It said, "This isn't a cry for help. I don't know what it is. Buffalo Police Department. Nobody did anything. Nobody has been doing anything."
And now she mentioned the police. Now the captain of the Cheektowaga Police Department speaking moments ago saying his officers did all they could illegally. He says that a domestic violence advocate was working with Hudson. He also said it is, quote, frustrating when you try, you have so many steps in place and you know somebody is in danger. You know there's a clear and present danger, yet the court has no option but to let this person back out into our community, end quote.
Chief Gold of the Cheektowaga Police Department just told us about how this issue within Cheektowaga started. It started back on September 28th when the police were called to the family's home for a complaint that Adam had punched KEAIRA in the face, and police were called to deal with that situation. When they got there, Benefield was locked in the bathroom. Once he came out of the bathroom, he was brought to UCMC for a medical and a psychological evaluation. During that time, they issued a warrant for his arrest, and on Thursday, a domestic violence advocate made contact with KEAIRA. And she showed her a video of the injuries and the actual assault that took place. The domestic violence advocate told her to send that video to police by Friday. They still had not had the video and arranged for a meeting with the victim on Monday. By Tuesday, the suspect turned himself in and he was arraigned and released because the charges that were put against him did not qualify for bail. Police say that is frustrating.
New York State is the last state that doesn't take into account
the dangerousness of a defendant to the community when considering bail. That is something that we've asked for. That is something that we will continue to ask for. And we hope that our elected officials consider those changes.
A look into Benefield's criminal history revealed that he had been in prison from about 2000 to 2015 for the attempted kidnapping of two women, and then an escape from Erie County Correctional Facility in Alden, New York in 2000. Benefield, described as mentally troubled at the time of his 2000 arrest, drove a stolen car to cut off the vehicle of his estranged girlfriend. He then forced the girlfriend at gunpoint to drive to Grand Island with police chasing them. Benefield, who was 22 at the time, then escaped the correctional facility by climbing over a 15-foot fence and a roll of razor wire at the top and was at large for 19 hours. When police traced the manhunt to a friend's home, Benefield locked himself inside of the home, cut his wrist with a kitchen knife, and threatened to blow up the building with fumes from a gas stove. His trial was delayed due to a psychiatric evaluation. During a news conference on Thursday, Buffalo police urged anyone who encounters Adam Benefield to call 911, but not to interact with him as he is considered armed and dangerous. Crime Stoppers Buffalo is offering a $7,500 reward for information leading to his whereabouts.
A GoFundMe was created by KEAIRA's family to cover child care expenses for all three of KEAIRA's children.
To be discussing the deadly impacts of the worst law in the history of New York State. 3 children woke up again this morning without their mother. That is if they even were able to sleep or to get a wink of sleep after being inches from her when she was executed in cold blood by a man who had no business being free. KEAIRA HUDSON knew exactly what would happen. She was begging and pleading for anyone to listen, to act, to the point that she wore a bulletproof vest, driving her children to school. Has a thought like that entered anyone in this room's mind? And if that's not the biggest indictment on how our system is failing people when they feel that they need to strap on a bulletproof vest to transport their children to school, then I don't know what is. Now, sadly, that bulletproof vest couldn't stop Adam Benefield. The only thing that could have stopped him is if he was behind bars in a jail cell. And the only thing that could have stopped him was a judge with the power to use his discretion and say, you are too dangerous to roam our streets. But thanks to cashless bail and the dismantling of our criminal justice system in the state of New York, Adam Benefield was arrested on a slew of domestic violence charges. And he walked out the door a free man on his own recognizance, where just 24 hours later, he stalked and he murdered his wife with her children in the back seat. Now, if this doesn't outrage you, if this doesn't scream wrong to you, I don't know what kind of society we're living in anymore.
Alrighty. This just broke my heart after seeing this. I mean, literally broke my heart. I really don't know what to say. Police reform. I think they need to take a second look at it. How is domestic violence a misdemeanor? Domestic violence should not be a misdemeanor. There is no way. Domestic violence, especially when she has, I think they should have looked at his record. He's been in prison. He's done this before to somebody else that he was doing time for, which shows he's got a pattern. And if he's got a pattern and you knew then he had some type of mental health issues, that mental health should have came into play and they should have kept him incarcerated. I could care less about a bail reform. He did not need to be out on the streets. This was not a misdemeanor. To me, a misdemeanor is when you got somebody smoking weed. That's a misdemeanor. When you got somebody physically harming somebody and they're putting videos on Facebook showing this is how this man beat me, and I'm showing this to the police officers, and you're telling me this is a misdemeanor? No, this is not a misdemeanor. Y'all fail this young lady, and until something is done, her spirit is going to haunt somebody, and it definitely ain't going to be me. But the blood of this young lady is on Buffalo. The system failed her. Who going to take responsibility? You can put it on bail reform. You can put it on the judge. You can put it on the police department. But when I know somebody in the police, y'all can see people records. And even if you had to take her home or have a hotel set up and say, well, ma'am, I know this guy history. I'm not putting you back in an environment for him to find you until we know he is off the streets. And y'all let him go and say, oh, it's a misdemeanor. No, that's not no misdemeanor. Domestic violence is not a misdemeanor. It's not a misdemeanor. You're out of control. I could see if it was his first offense. But this guy done been to prison for hurting women. And she had a 50B of whatever it is in place. So with all that said, how can you say that this was a misdemeanor? I don't get that. And you let him back out and now she's dead? He shot her in the head. Her vest couldn't save her. He shot her in the head. I say, my. My heart goes out to her family. I'm praying for her mom. She was staying with her mom, afraid of her life, and her family couldn't keep her safe. Nobody could keep her safe from this monster. I'm not going to say he was a husband. And so this is why I want to keep bringing awareness to domestic violence. If you are in a relationship and this man is putting his hands on you, or this woman is constantly putting her hand on you, in the first video, he was literally beating her. And that's the part I don't know if you could tell the first video, because I looked, and the first video was the one that they put on Facebook. He was literally beating her with his fist. I don't know how they got misdemeanor out of that. I mean, he was beating her. I mean, he constantly just kept swinging and hitting her and beating her with his fist. That was not a misdemeanor to me. It just wasn't. It doesn't fit. Not in my eyesight. They should have never let him go. Now you got 3 kids growing up without a mother, and she was a beautiful young lady. She was very beautiful, and I hate that for her family. Domestic violence don't care whether you black, white, orange, purple, whether you Hispanic, non-Hispanic, It doesn't matter whether you're a girl, a boy, man, woman. Domestic violence can hit anybody. 85% of domestic violence are women. 85%. Most of the time, domestic violence happens behind closed doors. A lot of people aren't aware, but if you know that you are aware that your sister or one of your family members or your friends, check on them to make sure that they are not in a situation that brings up a red flag, because there are red flags when you are in the wrong type of situation. It's red flags out here. Are we so blind that we feel like we are so much in love that we don't see these flags? Because they are there. You may not want to face it, but you get caught up with the wrong person. And this is what happened. He had mental health issues. Well, my God, half of America got mental health issues by the time they finish with people. We all got something wrong with everybody, but this guy should have never been put back out on the streets after he had assaulted her. At least not right that soon. At least give him a couple of days to make sure he's okay mentally. Because what happened, they put him back out and he went out and shot her. Okay, so I'm going to go through some statistics. If you don't know the warning signs, the red flags, I'm going to go through some of that. If you want to know if you're in an abusive relationship, if your children is in an abusive relationship, you need to be aware. It's just bringing awareness. If your friends, your family, it doesn't matter. You would know some of the warning signs of a domestic violence relationship. It's a physical act against someone that's pretty much close to you. Normally, it's a partner. 1 in 4 women and 1 in 9 men face severe domestic violence from an intimate partner. And it results in stress disorder, or injury, a transmitted disease, and it leaves you devastated. On a daily basis, over 20,000 phone calls go to the police department for domestic violence, the hotline. And this is nationwide. So domestic violence is a community problem that needs to be addressed that way. 15% account of an intimate partner account for violent crimes. So it's really dramatic physical act against their partner. 20% of domestic violent incident occurred last year, and a lot of them would end up in death. And this is what happened with this young lady. 52% end up with a gunshot wound. So somebody has shot somebody. And that's why sometimes you don't need guns in the home. I don't know. That's a hard subject. Do you have a gun or you don't? You got criminals that want to break in. So, yeah, you're going to feel like, well, I got to protect my family. Yeah, but if you got somebody that's physically abusing you, they don't need a gun. I think certain people should not be allowed to have weapons. And I think that's what should be more enforced than punishing everybody. You need to punish the people that got domestic violent tendencies, because of this could happen. If you've been charged with some type of domestic violence, you don't need no gun. Your attitude is not there 1 in 7 women and 1 in 18 men at some point in their lives will feel threatened. 1 in 7 women and 1 in 18 men. So men get it just like women do. You got females are just as violent as men, some of them. Then you got homosexual partners and lesbians and everybody, different ways in a relationship. It's just a relationship issue that you feel threatened or you are in some type of harm's way. Killed by a stalker. 34% of victims don't even receive treatment. So a lot of victims that are caught up in domestic violence situations, they don't even report it. They don't go to the hospital. They just try to take care of their own wounds. I guess fear of the partner going to jail. In the United States, it is estimated that 10 million people experience domestic violence each year. That's a lot of people. 10 million people experience domestic violence a year in the United States. And roughly 1.3 million women, 835,000 men are physically assaulted by an intimate partner in the United States every year, which leads to a lot of emotional issues. Most people that get abused, they have marks, especially if they've been beaten on them. So we're going to go over some of the warning signs. And I think this is what people fail to look at when they're dating. Even in dating, you need to sort of pick this up before you go down the aisle and stop thinking you can change people. I think this is the biggest issue in our society. We think, well, gosh, maybe if I do this, he won't hit me, or you can't change anybody. The only people you can change is yourself. You can't change nobody. And the reason you can't change people, I say it all the time, until you see a need to change, you will never change. Because you may see something wrong with the person, but if that person don't think nothing's wrong with them, then they're not going to change. The only time people change is when they see that they need to change. And I hope that makes sense. But you can't change anybody. The only people you can change is yourself. And if you're in an abusive relationship, get out. Some people make it out, you survive, but look at some of the ones that don't. And now you're leaving 3 beautiful children behind. So some of the warning signs is isolation. When someone is trying to keep you isolated, from your family, from your friends. They don't want you going out. You got to ask permission if you can go somewhere. These are some of the early warning signs. Financial control. When you got somebody that's trying to control your finances, work for your check and they want you to turn your check over to them, that's financial control. They want to tell you what to do with your money that you have worked so hard for. Or you voluntarily giving this person your check every week or every other week. That's financial control. That's a red flag. Unexplained injuries. Victims of physical abuse will likely show signs. They got injuries on them. They got bruises, scrapes, broken bones, black eyes. Cuts, scrapes. you know, but they'll try to explain it away instead of saying what really happened. They may say something else happened. Or I fell, I ran into the wall. Just some examples. A lot of times injuries can be on abdomen, genitals, they wrist, they neck, they head, they face. And a lot of people that has bruises, you may see them with a lot of makeup on, trying to cover scars or bruises if they've been hit. And each bruise have different stages of healing. But when it becomes a pattern with people, be mindful of that. Yeah, you have to be mindful. But domestic violence can lead to PTSD. It can lead to depression, anxiety. A lot of times, people that are in that type of situation, they feel hopeless. They feel like they don't have anybody to talk to. And a lot of people don't. That's why when people say you're okay, you'll say, I'm okay. But really, you're not okay if you're going home and this man is putting his hands on you every week or every other week, or this woman is going home putting her hands on you every week or every other week. You're not okay. More relationships between mental illness. A lot of people end up suffering with some type of mental illness due to the abuse. It brings on low self-esteem. And most victims have low self-esteem, especially when it comes to getting away from their abusers, or decision-making power, knowing when to get out before it's too late. A lot of domestic violence can come from substance abuse. If the partner is drinking or doing drugs, it could lead to domestic violence. Everybody can't control their alcohol or their drugs. So I'd be saying they dope. My kids used to laugh at me. I'd be saying they doing that dope. They smoking that stuff. But that could lead to domestic violence. And then people become self-harm or suicidal. And that's what I don't like. You got to get out of a bad situation. If you feel like you're in a domestic violence and some of these warning signs are sitting in your lap, tell somebody. Just because KEAIRA didn't get the help and the system failed her, this system failed her. I don't care what they say. I'm going to say it until I'm blue in the face. The system failed her. Got to do better. The system got to do better for people that are victims of domestic violence. It's got to do better. The system failed her. Don't get suicidal. Don't get wanting to cause harm to yourself because you feel like it's no way out. It is a way out. Tell somebody. I like what KEAIRA did. She posted it on Facebook. That took a whole lot of courage for her to say, look, I need help. She kept crying out for help and nobody helped her. And my heart goes out to her. My heart, it goes out to the family. I know everybody probably did what they thought they could do. What do you do? What do you do besides telling the person you need to get away from this person? And you can say it till you blue in the face. But if that person is not ready to leave, what can you do? You can't make them leave. But be there when it gets so bad and they say, I need you. Be available. Let them know I'm here if you want to talk. I'm available. If you're going through some issues and you want to talk, I'm available. Because no one should have to feel suicidal thoughts due to violence. They got a National Domestic Violence Hotline. The number is 1-800-799-SAFE, SAFE. Or you can go to www.thehotline.org. Always dial 911 when you feel like you are in danger. Please dial 911. They have a National Domestic Violence Hotline. That number is 1-800-799-7233. Victims of Crime, the National Center for Victims of Crime is 1-855-484-2846. And these people are qualified to handle your issues. If you just want somebody to talk to and you don't have any family or friends and you don't want nobody to know, call the hotline. Call the hotline and tell somebody what you're going through. Do not suffer in silence. The National Resource Center for Domestic Violence, 1-800-537-2238. National Runaway Safe Line is 1-800-786-2929. And Breaking the Cycle, 202-824-0707. I say these are numbers. If you need them or your friends need them, write them down, keep them handy, save them in your phone, just so you have somebody in case you are in that situation. I'm just bringing awareness and be mindful. And if you want to know if you are in that type of situation and some of the things that I've said can sit in your lap and you say, yes, I'm experiencing that, you may want to look at your relationship because it's a domestic violence relationship that you're in. And if it's not going to improve, don't stay somewhere that you're not happy. Because domestic violence is a pattern of abusive behavior in relationship. It's a pattern. Somebody wants to gain power and control over you. Domestic violence can be emotional, economic, it can be sexual, physical, psychological. People want to play mind games. They threaten you to cause harm. And then it includes fighting, isolation, coerce, threaten, blame, hurt. If you've been wounded, Physical abuse, somebody biting you, pulling your hair, pinching you, hitting you, slapping you, shoving you, grabbing you. These are different types of physical abuse. Especially if they drinking and doing drugs, it gets worse. But that is abuse. Sexual abuse, when you say no, I always say no means no. But when someone is forcing sex on you and you do not want to have sex, that's sexual abuse. And it's sexual violence against you, because no means no. I don't care if you're married. I don't care if this is your boyfriend, your girlfriend. No means no. And if someone is forcing themselves on you, that's sexual assault, and which leads to rape. And you can go to jail for that. It's a crime. It's a crime. Emotional abuse. Somebody's making you feel like you're not worthy. Trying to lower your self-esteem with their words, name calling. They're trying to damage your relationship with your children. A lot of people try to pit the children against each other because their relationship don't go well. They'll try and turn the children against the other family member, the husband or I see it a lot, especially women trying to turn the children against the man. But then you got men trying to turn the children against the woman too. So it goes both ways. That's emotional abuse. Economic abuse. This can include fraud, manipulating. Somebody's trying to manipulate you, trying to control you, taking access of your money, financial information, all up in your personal business. This includes money, credit cards, access. So be mindful of this. Somebody's trying to take control, and that ain't what you want them to do. Financial obligations. That's economic abuse. They're trying to take power of attorney over you. I guess it depends on what your situation is. This is going a little bit different than domestic violence. But psychological abuse, trying to intimidate you, threaten you, self-harm, threaten to do physical harm to your children, talking about you to your family or friends. Psychological. That can happen in school, at work. Psychological abuse could be anywhere. Trying to intimidate you. That's another thing for bullying. So these are just some of the things that I wanted to go over today. I'm quite sure she's seen the warning signs, but a lot of times people feel like they can change their mate and they can't. You think if you do this, they won't hit you or something of that nature, and it's not true. You can't change them. You have to change yourself and get out of a bad situation. And that's what you have to be mindful of and be aware. Because domestic violence can happen to anyone, regardless of race, age, sexual orientation, your sex, your gender, your religion. Domestic violence don't care, rich, poor. It doesn't matter. It can hit anybody, same sex, opposite sex. dating, married, living together, sharing a child. So domestic violence, it affects the children. If you are in a domestic violence situation, get help for you. Get help, especially if you got children that is watching you getting abused. You can do damage to your children if they're seeing this and they're watching you constantly getting attacked. Your children see this, they hear you. And kids don't do what you say, they do what they see. So be mindful. If you don't get out of it for yourself, get out of it for your children. And if you think that you need help, please go and get help. Please get the help that you need. Psychological, it's okay. Back in the day, people put a stigma on mental health and psychiatrists and psychologists, but it's okay. I'm letting you know today, if you need to go and talk with someone, don't ever be ashamed of it. Go and get the help that you need. It's okay. Life changes daily, and nobody's going to judge you. And I'd rather you stay healthy and get the help you need. And I definitely don't want what happened to this young lady to happen to you. Please get out of it. You see warning signs early on. I know you like this person, but you can't change them. The only person you could change is yourself. Don't let it get too bad and it's too late. So I'm bringing awareness. Have a conversation with your children, especially in high school. If they in domestic violence situations, have these conversations. Back in the day when I grew up, parents didn't have conversations. And nowadays we need to have these conversations because our kids grow up so fast and they're so smart and intelligent. Have these conversations so they'll know what to do, and let them know it's okay, that you're not alone. So I'm going to end this right now. And if you got any comments, I love y'all comments. Hit like, share my video. Maybe it's not for you, but it could be for a friend, family member. Share it. And leave your comments. And subscribe to my channel. Be coming back with different topics all the time. All right, I'm going to end this broadcast, and I will talk with you soon. Have a good day. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you.